Hello people of YouTube, my name is Brad, this is my channel Adamant Orange, and welcome to another Metal Earth build video. I am very excited to finally be telling you this. I am building the Y-Wing fighter from Metal Earth. I have so many times said, when are we going to get our Y-Wing? When are we going to get our Y-Wing? When are we going to get our Y-Wing? And here it is. Brand new packaging from the upcoming movie. As of this time, the movie is not out yet. I'm building this model before the movie's even out. This is Zorii's Y-Wing fighter. Very excited to have a Y-Wing. Haven't mentioned that yet. We're going to put that together today. Got the package here. There's no difficulty scale listed on these anymore, so I was just still getting used to the fact that Metal Earth started putting an actual difficulty scale on the back of their packaging. And it looks like with the new Star Wars ones, they're not doing that. Whatever, let's go to the table, open this up, see what's inside, and kind of get an idea of what we're in for. Put this thing together. It's finally here. I'm a little bit excited. Let's open up a Y-Wing. You see the instructions poking up there, so I'm trying to get them out of the way. Seem to have gotten caught in the glue. There we go. It's like I'm beating up on the model here. Yeah. There we go. Let's see what's inside. Ooh. We have a tiny sheet with tiny parts that are probably going to drive me just a little bit crazy. We have a not so tiny sheet, and this has a very similar kind of not so shiny semi-gloss at best appearance like the Imperial Star Destroyer with some accents of color. And then we have this sheet right here, also with some accents, some color. And I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that these are part of the engines. But anyway, let's set these to the side. Open up the instructions. I'm rather hoping that by this point you've built a few models before. There are quite a few Star Wars models to choose from. We're going to open up the one that says Star Wars, has the Star Wars logo on it, and try to briefly talk about the instructions. If you don't already know, if you do, skip ahead a couple of minutes. Basically, got your Star Wars logo, a line drawing of the model and sheet, a QR code and website where you can go see a 360 view to reference this model. Below that, we've got the three sheets, the two regular size and the small one. I'll grab one as an example. It looks like I have grabbed this part over here. If I'm facing it the correct way, there we go. Yes. So I've grabbed sheet B. You notice that they have A, B, and C, and they also have numbers. You also notice that not all the parts are drawn or colored in, but some are. This is an outline of this sheet. The parts that are colored in are duplicate parts. For instance, we have, I believe this 72? Right here is pointing at 72. That's also making this 72. Both of these are, well, these are slightly different shades of bluish purple. I'm going to have a little trouble with that. But basically, the parts that are colored in the same are the duplicate parts. As you notice, this thing has two different engines, so a lot of these are probably engine parts that are the same on both sides. They label one with a number and the other one they just you leave it without because it's the color and you can find it. Sliding over to page 2, we have a sample part with a notation on insertion tabs, fold lines, and insertion holes. Insertion tabs go into insertion holes or slots. Fold lines are pre-scored areas where the part folds. Beside that, we have the legend. E in a circle is pointing at the engraved or detailed or painted side of the model. N is pointing at the non-detailed, non-engraved, or I would say silver side, but honestly these don't even really have a silver side, but most of that is going to be the non-detailed or any side. The tension point is, if you see that, it's not even in every build. If you see that, it's usually talking about trying to get your attention about how something aligns or how something folds. Sometimes there's wording with it to explain what they're trying to get your attention to, but a lot of times it's not even there. But if you see that, be really careful to try and make sure you're doing things as instructed. Blue circle and green triangle are indicating how you should connect the tabs. The blue circle means to insert the tab and fold it over 90 degrees. Green triangle is insert the tab and twist it 90 degrees. Assembly tip about lightly twisting tabs that needed to be folded just until you get more of the parts together, then going back and untwisting and folding those over. Over here is some recommended tools. We'll talk about the tools that I use here in just a moment. Below that we have the start of the assembly flowchart, starting with part 1, which is on sheet B. Here's the part, here's how it folds, here's where the non-engraved side is facing. These two pieces fold up. You can kind of see by the angle of the blue line. Slide over here. We've got part 2 on sheet A, like that. There's the part. There's how it folds. You do that 2 times, and they connect right here. End up with that. And that is pretty much the gist of it. You're going to go through and follow the assemblies and sub-assemblies. The red parts usually indicate parts that fold. The arrows show you how they fold. And just plug the parts together, fold and shape them, and follow the instructions. And of course, you get to the end of one page, you flip over to 3, then 4. When you get to the end of page 4, you grab the next sheet and start working on that. Finding page 5 and moving on forward. Let's talk a little bit about tools. The very basics of what you're going to need is a pair of tweezers and some clippers. The tweezers, you can do a lot of bending, shaping, twisting of tabs, folding of things over. The clippers are going to help you get the pieces out of the sheets cleanly and easily by clipping them out instead of trying to bend them out, which can cause damage. I've also supplemented my set with some precision tweezers. I have a couple of pointed ones here. One, I ground the tip down just a little bit to give it a more sturdy tip for tabs and twisting things. And then I have a precision flat set, and between all of these I can do a lot of bending and shaping and twisting. I also strongly recommend some sort of pliers to complement your set. I have some flat nose here that have definite uses. I have some long needle nose pliers for some of the longer pieces, and then I have some curved tips for grabbing things at an angle and bending them over. For shaping a lot of curves and dome shapes and whatnot, you'll see me use an array of 3D printed tools that I've designed that you can find on my Etsy if you're interested. Otherwise, you'll also see me pull out a cheap drill bit set that I have that's not sharp for shaping cylinder shapes, or just look around your house and use objects that you find like dowel rods, pencils, maybe some beads to shape certain things. We've talked a bit about the tools that I use in this video. I've got some basic tools to get me started. I've got my metal sheets out and instructions. I'm going to take a moment to organize things, and let's get started with this build. There are 2 part 2s, both fold the same, and these are just the start of many very small and challenging to shape parts. I'll skip ahead on duplicate parts and only show shaping them once. The two part 6 were a small challenge to squeeze into place. With these tiny parts it's hard to see, but with part 17 I'm trying to put a curve in the ends with the tip of the fine point tweezer. Part 19 needs the right size curve put into it to fit the space, so I compared the size of the space 19 fit to my drill bits to find the right size. For the second part 24, I pushed one of the sides in too far, and as I tried to pull it back out, it popped out of my tweezers. had to make adjustments to the side of this assembly, as the side was bent at a right angle and now two 45-degree angles. Thus the tabs did not line up. The lower tab came out right next to another tab, and I had to use the tweezers to wedge them apart and bend them over. Then I went back to the top tab to untwist and fold it over for a neater look.
For parts 32 and 33, like many other parts, they are quite small and have sides that fold up into a tight, narrow area. These parts are also long, keeping me from using my tweezers along the entire part, so I had to switch sides, bending the ends as much as I could get to. It was a little extra effort, but it worked well. Like a bozo, I bent this long strip the wrong way and caused myself some confusion. Add to that the fact that part 32 does not have any red coming up on the top and 33 does, I thought for a moment that the parts were backwards and I'd folded something wrong. I paused the camera to figure out where I went wrong, realized I folded the thin strip of 33 the wrong way and fixed it off camera. Now to continue. I forgot to fold over one edge of part 36 and it would not sit in the space. Part 44 gave me trouble. The instructions indicate which side is the engraved side, which I took to mean the side with the markings on it. I started to fold things in the way indicated, but it would have hidden all of the markings. I looked at the 360 view, and in the 360 view you can see the markings on this part, which means it looks like the instructions for part 44 are marked wrong, or I do not understand which side the engraved side is. My first attempt ended up breaking the part. Luckily, I had a backup. My second attempt didn't turn out too well either, but at least nothing broke off. The idea was to bend the 3 strips in the middle over into a box shape. Because of the uncertainty of what I was supposed to be doing, I doubted my actions and ended up going about the folds in a weird way. You might notice that a light is flickering. It's my magnifying desk lamp that I use. The bulb was starting to overheat and melt the plastic. At first, I thought maybe the plug had worked loose and wasn't too worried. I found the stopping place and investigated. Ended up having to buy a new light to finish this build. And that brings us to the end of part 1 of what is going to be a 2-part video. This one's taken quite a bit. As you can see, I've already put it together. I've had to split the video into 2 because it ended up being an hour and a half long. So we're going to stop here at this point. We've got most of the body of this thing together. We've got a little bit more to add to the front before we put this front piece on, before we build the engines or nacelles or whatever you want to call them. There's still quite a bit of work to do. There's been quite a bit of work put into this thing so far. This has been one heck of a detailed model with so many tiny parts. I am absolutely blown away. Absolutely blown away. Part of me is thinking, well, be careful what you ask for. You kept saying, where's my Y-wing, where's my Y-wing? Well, here it is. And I used to worry about how challenging these parts are going to be. I didn't think about the rest of the detail. Anyway, stay tuned for part 2. That'll be coming up really soon. We're going to pick up where we left off and finish this incredibly detailed build. Can you tell I'm excited? And yeah, I'll see you in part 2. That's coming up very soon if it's not out already. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.